Yeah, no. Continuing on. Um, so he remains without any employment. The person who has this mentality, remains without any employment, and says, "Truly, Allah is the All Generous, and to Him belong the treasure houses of the heavens and the earth. He is able to make me come across a treasure which will free me of the need to earn a living." So this, if you saw a person saying this, you say this person is a total idiot. This person's waiting for the buried treasure. He doesn't work. He doesn't farm. He doesn't try to put in any effort. He says, "I'm waiting for the buried treasure to come." So this is the likeness of the person who says, "I want Allah's forgiveness, but I'm not going to do istighfar. I want Allah's forgiveness, but I'm going to do anything I want." Allah is the most merciful, right? So this is the parable of that person. He's waiting for the buried treasure to come, but he doesn't ever do any digging either. He doesn't have a map, doesn't do any digging. He doesn't go searching. He just waits for the buried treasure just to come into his lap. That's it. If we saw this person, we say, you should be taken to an insane asylum, right? This person's mental. No. Continuing on. If you heard these two men speaking, you would think them stupid and make fun of them, even though their description of Allah's generosity and power may be true and correct, right? So a person says, "I'm waiting for the buried treasure," right? That may be true. You may find a buried treasure, but who would put all their hopes in finding a buried treasure especially without putting in any effort? We'd laugh at these people, would make fun of them. In the same way, the people of religious insight may make fun of and deride, to make fun of, such people when they demand forgiveness while doing nothing to gain it, right? So if we want Allah's forgiveness and do nothing to gain it, we're like a person waiting for the buried treasure to basically sort of fall into our laps. Allah says in the Quran, "Man will have nothing but that which he strives for." So the Arabic, it states, وَأَن لَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى, that the insan, man, does not have anything except that which he strives for, right? So if you strive for Allah's forgiveness, you'll gain it. But if you don't strive for Allah's forgiveness, if we're lazy or we just have wishful thinking, "Allah forgive me, I'll do everything I want and Allah will forgive me." This is wishful thinking, and this is dangerous. For example, a person who says, "I'm not going to study Islam, not going to practice, everything is going to be okay." This is dangerous. This is wishful thinking, and this is having false hopes in Allah, right? The Arabic word for this is called at-tamanni. If a human being, also another verse, "Verily those who do good are in gardens of ease," right? And the people who do bad, of course, are basically on a trajectory or a path towards hellfire, as we already know. If the human being, relying on his generosity, the mighty and majestic, does not abandon his efforts in the realms of seeking knowledge and livelihood, likewise, he should not abandon seeking his provision for the next life. Just as we seek provision in this life, we have our zad in this life, or the provisions, right? The zad, which means for provisions for this life, we should also seek out the provisions for the next life. We talk about it all the time, that the provisions in this life are material provision. The provision in the next life, though, it's spiritual. It's your good deeds. We say the verse all the time, وَمَا تُقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُمْ تَجِدُوهُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ, that whatever good you do in this life, you will find it with Allah. But if you don't do any good, you will find no good, and then you'll be bankrupt in the akhirah. You'll be bankrupt in the akhirah. Now, if the human being, relying on his generosity, the mighty and majestic, does not abandon his efforts. So, we read this already. Inshallah, we'll finish this chapter today. So the Sheikh, he says, "Rather his generosity is only in his facilitating for you your path to reach the everlasting dominion by giving you patience to abandon your sensual desires for a few days. This is the epitome of generosity. So do not talk yourself into believing the clamor of those who are idle," right? And this is an important statement here, because we have a lot of this in our times, right? The entertainment news, TMZ, all the celebrity news, celebrity magazines, who married who, the dirt on the neighbor. These are all distractions that muddy the heart. right? They put a blindness on the heart, right? And they make you blind to the akhirah. If you're worried about who married who got the divorce, and all these different things that people are often involved in, then it'll be a blindness, a darkness will come onto the heart because you're not focused on what you should be focused on. So do not talk yourself into believing the clamor of those who are idle, right? Those people who are not paying attention to the akhirah. And that's, most people in our day and age, unfortunately. And of course, with mass media, social media, social media, subhanAllah, we can probably talk about this all day. The YouTube and the so many different things that are on YouTube. You have to be very, very careful with social media. I mean, I don't know how many times that I may have opened like, a YouTube page. All of a sudden, I may have opened like a YouTube page about like, a hadith of the Prophet. Before I know it, I end up, it's like a video. You end up clicking on a video that takes you talking to you about like, the Great Wall of China and how something really, really random. This is YouTube. And this is really, really idle. This is what YouTube, the social media does. And not to say social media is haram, but we have to be very, very ethical with our usage and be careful with how we use social media. This is important, whether it's WhatsApp. Also, and also verifying information. We sent out I did an article about verifying information. To be careful with what we share. That we have these people who share the most, really, really random things that are often not true, right? And especially in this day and age, you have idle people who are just sort of not thinking, and then you have other people who are like shaitan. They know what they're doing and they want to spread harm. They know what they're doing and they want to spread anxiety. They want to spread harm and try to manipulate other people. This is real. They want to manipulate people, so they create false articles, false news, and to stir up emotions and to stir up people's anxieties and fear. That's it. Once you feel, if you read any article and you feel fear, this is from shaitan. This is what primary like calling card of shaitan. The anxiousness, fear. Oh, what are we gonna do? As shaitan himself says to the people in the Quran, everyone is joining against you. Everybody's against you. So fear them. Fear them. Allah says about this, إِنَّمَا ذَلِكُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ يُخَوِّفُ أَوْلِيَاءَهُ. This is only shaitan trying to scare his friends. So people who listen to shaitan, people who, following the celebrity news, following every single thing in the earth, whether it's a benefit or not, that shaitan will have a grip on these people. Shaitan will manipulate them and exploit these things because of their attachment to things that do not benefit. Now, do not seek to reap that which you have not sown. It is greatly to be hoped that whoever has fasted, prayed, truly struggled, and had consciousness of Allah will be forgiven. As we talk about often, that we put forth our effort and Allah will reward that. وَمَا تُقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُم مِّنْ خَيْرٍ تَجِدُوهُ عِندَ اللَّهِ. Whatever you put forth for yourselves of good, you will find it with Allah. Very beautiful verse in the Quran. This then is a summary of things that which you must protect your outward limbs. The actions of these outer limbs are the result only of the qualities of the heart. Right? Very important sentence here. This is to say that the law here follows the batin. The outward follows the inward. If the inward is good, the outward will be good. So we then give a precedence. We try to focus on the heart. We try to do dhikr. We do istighfar to purify the heart. So you purify the heart, and then the limbs also, they fall into line, right? But if we allow the heart to remain in a sullied state, in a dirty state, in a debased state, then the limbs will also do things that are bad, and they'll do things that are disobedience to Allah. So if you wish to protect your outward limbs, you must purify your heart. If you wish to protect your outward limbs, you must purify your heart, for that is the inner aspect of consciousness of Allah. The heart is the morsel of the body which, if sound, the rest of the body by it is sound and whole. But if it is corrupt, if the heart is corrupt, the rest of the body will be corrupt. So engage in rectifying the heart. Engage in rectifying the heart. Engage in rectifying the heart so that you may rectify all your limbs and your faculties. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. So this is يعني, as it concerns the limbs. The next section that we're going to talk about are the sins of the heart. We'll do that next class, inshallah. This is a really good section as it concerns yani, the diseases of the heart, the inward diseases that we also all have to be watchful of and purify ourselves from. So inshallah we'll suffice with this amount today, and inshallah we will resume next class. We're talking about the ma'asi al-qalb, the sins of the heart. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. If we don't have any questions, inshallah we'll suffice with this amount for today, and we will pick up next class inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum.